Check this out. You ever wish you could be happy? You ever said, man, I wish I could just be happy. If these people would stop bugging me, I'd be happy. Once my family gets to this point in life, then I'll be happy. Once my work finally recognizes how valuable I am, then I'll be happy. Once I retire, then I'll be happy. Once I have grandkids, then I'll be happy. Once my kids come pick up their grandkids, then I'll be happy. Look, a lot of us associate happiness with lots of things. I want to talk to you about joy, which is like happiness under a magnifying glass through a telescope. Joy, right? So more importantly than me talking to you about joy and the secret to having joy, check this book out. So Philippians chapter 1, verses 12, 13, Paul, who's writing from prison, Paul's always locked up somewhere. He's in prison again. He says, I want you to know that what's happened to me, being in prison, being in chains, what's happened to me has really served to advance the gospel. And I'm happy about it. Because later he says, only that in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed, and in that I rejoice. This book, Philippians, joy. The word joy, joyful, some form of the word joy is used 16 times in 4 chapters. That's a large percentage, math majors. If you took this book, Philippians, and you wrung it out, you know what would drip out of this book? Joy. Liquid joy. Not like the dishwashing joy. I think that's a dishwashing detergent. Not that stuff. But the real stuff, joy. So how does Paul talk about joy? More importantly, how is Paul so joyful in prison? Because his circumstances are not great. Earlier in Acts, Paul was in prison and God sprung him loose. He rocked the prison cells and Paul walked out of there, man, with new converts for his church. God hasn't rocked the prison cells this time. Paul's still in prison. You been there? God, you got me out of that before. Why can't you just get me out of it this time? If you would, I would be so joyful. Don't wait to be joyful. God's gonna move when God's gonna move, right? In the meantime, you can be joyful that He's there with you in the prison. A few months ago, I had to go to the eye doctor. A few years ago, I needed to go to the eye doctor. A few months ago, my wife finally forced me into an appointment. I went and they said, hey bud, you need glasses. I said, I know, I'll accept them. I didn't want them. Man, I didn't want glasses. It was just one more thing to keep up with. It's not the way they look. I don't mind the way they look. Do I look like a guy who cares about the way I look? It was just one more thing to keep up with. I didn't want one more thing to keep up with. But I reluctantly took them. Guess what happened? I can read my Bible easier without doing that. I can read a prescription if I got to give a kid some medicine and not screw it up and make them sicker. I can read the directions on the back of a box in the kitchen because that's how I cook. It's opened up all these things to me that I never could do before because I took what I didn't want and it opened up my eyes to things I never saw. It opened up my eyes to things I wasn't capable of seeing. Hey, this is tough. But sometimes when we just surrender to God and say, God, whatever my circumstances are at this moment, I will accept whatever you bring my way if it'll just help me see you more clearly. Guess what'll happen? you'll see Jesus. Because you'll see that Jesus has been there all along in that situation. And I said the word joy is used profusely in the book of Philippians. Guess what word is used more than joy? Jesus. Jesus is used over 40 times in 4 chapters. The way to joy is Jesus. And sometimes the way to see Jesus more clearly is to surrender to him in the middle of your circumstances. Whether you feel like you're in some sort of prison of your own, or whether you're out walking free. Just say, God, whatever my circumstances today, I want to see you more clearly. So whatever that takes, Jesus, whatever that takes, all I want is you. You'll be more joyful. That's a promise. Hey, look for more videos coming and come visit us at Hardison Church, 9:45 a.m. Sunday mornings, anytime you're in Knoxville. Thanks.